President Tinubu is warning of consequences of Africa as sole supplier of raw materials. In Benin Republic, three prominent men arrested for planning a coup d'etat. The government at the center has assured that it will continue to prioritize the welfare, training, and equipment needs of the armed forces in order to maintain their operational readiness and efficiency towards putting an end to the nation's multifaceted security challenges. The Minister of Defense, Alhaji Mohammed Badaru, gave the assurance midweek while briefing newsmen in Abuja on the activities lined up to commemorate the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dr. Ibrahim Kana, said the government would also look forward to adopting a proactive approach to combating the security challenges by harnessing intelligence, resources, and having stronger partnerships with West African neighbors. They pointed out that in a landmark achievement towards addressing the needs of the nation's armed forces, President Tinubu signed the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria Act into law late last year. The Federal Executive Council is promising an amendment of the National Identity Management Commission Act No. 23, 2007, to allow for foreigners living in the country to be issued the National Identification Number. It also proposed the Economic Stabilization Bill to pave the way for the taxing of foreigners living and working in Nigeria. The two proposed legislation are aimed at expanding the scope of the registration of persons to include foreign individuals with the taxable presence of taxable source of income in Nigeria and make provision for the mandatory use of national identification number for transactions which are relevant for tax administration and for related matters. The special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononoga, laid this out while briefing newsmen at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit filed by Pan African Development Corporate Company Limited against the federal government to demand 2 trillion naira in damages over alleged copyright infringement. Is Ian Echo in a ruling dismissed the suit on the grounds that the suit was statute barred, instituted after the period allowed by the Public Office Protection Act 2004 had lapsed. The judge said created a steering committee on poverty reduction by establishing private equity fund. He however voted place until April 19, 2023, before commencing the action. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday cautioned against the dire consequences of Africa's long-standing profile as a supplier of raw materials and minerals to other countries. Extracting raw minerals continued. The president made the observation delivering a keynote address at the African Group meeting on the sidelines of the ongoing 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States. President Tinubu pointed out that while Africa holds a significant portion of the world's mineral reserves, including percentage of global platinum, 56% of cobalt, and 54% of manganese, these resources have been primarily extracted and exported to foreign countries for refining and manufacturing. The president was represented by his vice, Senator Kashim Shettima, 90.5 F. The named prosecutors on Wednesday said that three prominent men, including Dutra and the small African nation, the other two accused of attempting a coup, former sport minister and a businessman close to President Patrice Talon. The special prosecutor at Benin's Court for Financial Crimes and Terrorism, Edon Mundo, said the alleged was detained on Tuesday as he was handing over 6 bags of cash totaling $2.5 million to the commander, Jimon Devote. Mr. Olivier Boko, known was arrested separately overnight on Monday in Benin's economic capital on Wednesday to avoid a government shutdown as the House of Representatives approved a stopgap funding deal that will keep the light on through the U.S. election. The agreement, which is due to be stamped by the Senate within hours, came ahead of the September 30th deadline to either approve a new government budget or begin shutting down federal agencies just 5 weeks ahead of Election Day. The measure, which advanced of dozens of novels from conservative rebels, would keep the government operational at current spending levels until the 20th. The leader said that because the two sides have chosen bipartisanship through the Taiwan Strait between Taiwan and China for the first time. The JS Ozanami, a naval destroyer, passed through the strait from north to south on Wednesday, accompanied by ships from Australia and New Zealand. The Japanese reported as saying the vessel was on its way to take part in a military exercise in the South China Sea. This would be a significant move by Japan, which is thought to have avoided sailing a ship through the strait in order not to upset China, which claims self-governed Taiwan and the Strait. The US and Taiwan container freight passes and is part of international and is open to all naval vessels. France on Wednesday has unveiled a proposal for a 21-day ceasefire as the death toll mounted from strikes by Israel against Hezbollah. After talks at the United Nations between President Joe Biden and his counterpart Emmanuel Macron, France outlined the proposal with the Emergency Security Council. French Foreign Minister Mr. Jean-Noel Barrot proposing a truce of Israel noted that it welcomed diplomacy on Lebanon but did not commit to a ceasefire, promising to pursue its goal of degrading Hezbollah. On sport, Manchester City will face Tottenham round of the English League Cup final. The draw was made on Wednesday after the third round games. Man City's game will be a repeat of the 2020-20 side won 1-0 thanks to an Asmeric Laporte header. Where Brighton will take on Liverpool while Manchester United host Leicester City. The games will be played in the week commencing October requires concerted effort. Play your own part. To end the midday news, another look at the major items. The Minister of Defense, Alhaji Mohammed Badr, is at the African Mineral Strategy Group meeting on the sidelines of the ongoing 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States. President Bola Tinubu cautioned against Africa's long-standing profile as a supplier of raw material to other continents, saying it will keep the continent in a state of poverty. We also heard that Benin prosecutors on Wednesday said that three prominent men, including a presidential guard commander, have been arrested on suspicion of planning a coup in the small West African nation. The news was edited by Elizabeth Furigi and broadcast from OGBC Abeokuta. For exclusive programs and the latest news updates, please visit our website